My name's Virginia McHale. About 9 months ago, we got a phone call stating that our daughter's on heroin and that our grandchildren were being removed to DIFAS. I quit my job and I was willing to take them. I live in Maple Shade, New Jersey, and they are in Philadelphia. We unfortunately had Judge Young, which just was removed from the bench due to our protest. We protested her right off the bench. There's a group of us, there's about 30 of us, that she just didn't like us, and she wouldn't even let us talk. We had a lawyer. She wouldn't let the lawyer come in. She just was arrogant, and we have a 7-bedroom home in Maple Shade. I have 3 children that are all honor students. She's my stepdaughter. She is now in Kensington, and we'll probably be burying her soon. But these boys, Judge Young took and put them in the system, and she put a stay-away order on me and my husband that we weren't allowed to see them. So we just got visits back because we protested Judge Young off the bench. So after that, we're allowed to see them every other week for 2 hours. My one grandson is disabled. He can't talk or walk or anything. And he's in a facility. Recently, the facility was just taken and said that there was 2 kids that recently died in there, so they were removing all the kids. Except for Carter, which is my grandson. He's fine there, they tell me. He's fine. Only the DHS nurse told me that, and it's not public record, so we're not allowed to know. The DHS nurse just was fired from her job 2 days ago. My other grandson is 9 years old. He was removed from 5 foster homes. He was molested and beaten in both. And he figured I would get my grandkids. One's disabled and needs 24-hour care, and the other one now has so many issues that he's a mess. He needs therapy. They haven't they left him. He was molested on the one day, they told us. And they left him in the room. They left him in the house that he was molested in overnight, and they made him go to school the next day. Like, awful. And DHS and KUA and everybody had all parts in this. Like, it was like they were going to take the boys no matter what. It didn't matter that me and my husband wanted the boys. They were not allowing it. They did not allow it. And they did everything they could to stop it.
Experiences similar to Victoria and Jeff McHale are occurring with greater regularity throughout our nation today. These experiences are excruciatingly difficult for parents, their children, grandparents, and their grandchildren. These situations are exasperated by the injustices occurring in the family and civil courts, which are essentially an abrogation of the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights of parents and grandparents, deprived by the courts and administrative agencies of custody and care of their own children. Administrative agencies like the Department of Health and Human Services, or the Division of Youth and Family Services, and the Division of Child Protection and Permanency often act with autonomous power in deciding what they surmise as being best for families. These agencies, which in many regards act without the accountability and responsibility of representative government oversight, these agencies therefore often act outside the authority of we the people in securing the rights of families. These agencies are the product of the progressive and evolutionary-based policies that have severely damaged the natural rights of our citizens for decades. Family and civil courts are made up of one judge determining the fate of parents, grandparents, and their children. Fourth, Fifth, Sixth, and 14th Amendment rights are compromised for various reasons, such as to accommodate the number of cases in the system or the fraternal inner working and relationships that exist with judges and attorneys in the courts. Judges in family courts are also autonomous in their rulings and are not subject to the rigors of the adversarial relationship utilized in jury trials, nor are they given peer or public review. Thomas Jefferson wrote in 1821, quote, "The germ of destruction of our nation is in the power of the judiciary, an irresponsible body working like gravity by night and by day, getting a little today and a little tomorrow, and advancing its noiseless step like a thief over the field of jurisdiction until all shall render powerless the checks of one branch over the other, and will become as venal and oppressive as the government from which we separated." So what can be done about the family courts? Thankfully, examples of citizens employing self-governance exist here in New Jersey, with men like Raphael Franco and David Kalin of FAMPAC, the Family Advocate Network Political Action Committee, who are advocating reform in the family court system and for legislation that would give parents shared parenting in New Jersey, which for too long has unfairly punished men and some women who want to parent their children and have been deprived by judges and the family courts through decades of unfair precedents. Raphael and FAMPAC have worked hard for bipartisan legislative support in Trenton with S-273 and A-1091, legislation for equal parenting. Contact Raphael and David at FAMPAC for help with your case or to help assist them in exercising self-governance and working with our representatives to pass legislation that is just and proper for New Jersey families. Nationally, thousands of people are being led by three men who provide sound, just legal advice on Facebook Live broadcasts each Monday and Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 Eastern Time. Kirk Pendergast, Chris Hallett, and John Gentry can be found on Kirk's Law Corner. These three men have a superior knowledge of American law and the courts, and are leading the efforts for family court reform and the establishment of justice within the courts. John Gentry has two writs certiorari before the Supreme Court that could have a profound effect on our courts and for establishing due process rights granted all American citizens in our Constitution. Go to www.wethepeoplev50states.com to learn more and to become a co-plaintiff. John Gentry explains on the website, quote, that there is no oversight of our judiciary. The state and federal court judges, in collusion with attorneys, routinely violate constitutionally protected rights known as due process and perpetrate crimes against we the people under color of law with impunity. When our rights are violated and crimes are perpetrated against us under color of law, we have no means of regress. Unquote. Go to We the People, the 50 United States on Facebook, and ask to join. Statewide and nationally, judicial reform is underway, and we need to be a part of exercising self-governance to keep reform moving faster. We must also, however, look to prevent the need for having to come under the power of the courts by getting and staying married, by giving our children the benefit of having two loving, nurturing, and benevolent parents that are educating their children on right and wrong. Parents together in one secure and properly managed home, teaching their children the consequences of doing what is right from wrong, teaching them the biblical principle of loving our neighbor as ourselves, forgiving one another, and living a life that is pleasing and respectful of our Creator, Almighty God. Experiences like Victoria and Jeff McHale can end up being happy ones, with children and grandchildren being reunited and responsible for their own families, parenting their own rather than the strangers the state decides should be responsible. Our founders believed that families would best care and provide for their own, and that government should only be a last resort, a safety net, if you will, to protect the parents and their children. Judicial reform is essential and necessary in reestablishing justice in the civil and family courts. My name is J.R. Carmen of the New Jersey Constitutional Republicans.